This is where the Islamic State recruitment files are leading police. Sleepy European suburbs like Tingbjerg in northwest Copenhagen. 2 weeks ago, this place was one focus of a series of police operations. Homes were raided, garages searched, men arrested. 2 days earlier, several miles away at the city's airport, another man was picked up as he tried to board a flight. The significance of all this then wasn't known. Police flatly refused to comment. Now, though, we know the arrests were linked to these Islamic State recruitment files obtained by Sky News in March. Danish law prevents us from naming the men, but we found their files here among thousands leaked to us. Well, this is the neighbourhood where two of those who were arrested lived. One of them is in our files and he is still being held by the police. The other wasn't in the files and he's been released. Filled out by IS gatekeepers when recruits entered the self-proclaimed caliphate, the files are now exposing fighters who've slipped back into their home countries. One by one, authorities are picking them up and piecing together a terror franchise that spans the continent. This is the address of one of those who was arrested. There's no answer, but we know that the man who lives here has been to the Islamic State because he's in our files, listed as having arrived in Syria in July 2013. He says he's married, and intriguingly, there is another name on this doorbell. We don't know who that is, but it's a Western name. And also in those files, he lists himself as his occupation as childcare. There was no sign of his wife inside, but a neighbour did let us in and up to her apartment. She knows the detained man well. We showed her his file.
It really surprises me. I had no idea he was that kind of guy. He was just really nice, a lovely, warm person.
Two girls.
She confirmed to us that he does have 2 young children and a Danish wife. It all tallies with the file, which, as with the others, details the person who recommended their membership to the Islamic State. In this case, it was Abu Hafs al-Pakistani, one of 2 names which crops up frequently. Another neighbourhood, the scene of another raid. One man was taken from here. There was no answer for us. This is his file. Born 1990, married, entered Islamic State 9th of September 2013. Recruiter Abu Khattab al-Pakistani. This mosque is listed as the home address on the file of the man arrested at the airport. We know he was very close to the imam here, who, we were told, is away in Mecca. Our calls to the imam's mobile didn't connect. This is the young recruit's file, the 20-year-old former mobile phone technician who travelled to Syria on the 10th of July 2013. He'd have been 17 then. His sponsor, once again, it's Abu Hafs al-Pakistani. Between them, Abu Hafs and Abu Khattab are named as the recruiters in all but 3 of the Danish files. This is Abu Khattab at a rally in Copenhagen in late 2012. Our files show that he'd have been recruiting people for jihad at this time. On loudspeaker, he's on the phone to Omar Bakri Mohammed, the radical cleric once based in Britain. In the crowd is one of the men now in custody. And this is Abu Hafs in Syria in 2013.
Mine brødre og søstre, som bor i USA og England og Danmark og Norge og Sverige og Japan og Afrika, kom her til den her land.
Next to him is Abu Khattab. They are both now dead, but both had contact with known British extremists. Their exposure as high-profile recruiters helps European intelligence agencies join up the dots.
One of the most interesting things would obviously be who recommended this recruit.
Certainly with the Anja Dalgaard is a former Danish intelligence analyst. The files, she says, help not only to apprehend suspects, but to prosecute them too.
It is, for obvious reasons, difficult to gather evidence in a war zone. And until recently, it was not a crime in and of itself to travel to Syria. So you couldn't know whether people were doing humanitarian work or whether they had actually joined a terrorist organization, whether they had committed crimes.
But there are many more Europeans in the files than there have been arrests. After Paris, Brussels and Islamic States pledged to attack again, there is an urgency to find them. Mark Stone, Sky News in Denmark.